When I was a new administrator at a juvenile facility, a blast from my past, as my days of a detention officer, was detained. But Carlos was no longer that scrawny 13-year-old kid I had once worked the unit with. He wasn't the silly kid who named the guys on the foosball table after his least favorite teachers. And he was no longer the scared kid wearing the standard institutional clothes that hung off of his small body. Now his life experience showed in every line on his face. He looked hard, well experienced beyond his 19 years. And in truth, many of his peers would have described him that way. Hard. He looked like the kind of kid that if you saw him walk down the street, you would instinctively cross to the other side. Anyone who's worked with kids in a secure setting will tell you of those moments that stick with them. Some of the best lessons I learned about behavior management didn't come from training. They didn't come from formal work experience. The ones that stuck with me came from working with Carlos. One day as an administrator, I was covering a unit, and I was getting ready to take kids to dinner. And I walked down to the unit, and I was greeting the kids as they got ready in their rooms, and I unlocked Carlos's door first. Dinner time was a time when our kids could earn privileges. They earned these little things called coupons. And coupons were little token reinforcers. They were designed to spend in our commissary so that kids, when they did specific positive behaviors, that we would write on the back of it, when they redeemed these, that they could buy soda pop. They could buy candy. They could buy extra privileges. One thing I noticed about Carlos, when I opened up his room door, his coupons were hanging on the wall. Perfect symmetrical lines. Almost like a work of art. My detention officer side kicked in and I said, ooh, that's a violation of room expectations. They're not supposed to be putting things on their wall with institutional glue, aka Vaseline. But they were there. And like I said, it was almost a work of art. So I said to him, come on, Carlos, get all your coupons. It's time to go to dinner. Let's get ready and go. And he gave me a blank stare. So I repeated my request. And he said, no, I'm not bringing these coupons. And the more I requested, the more adamantly he said, I do not want to spend them. And then he looked at me, very quiet, very vulnerable. This hard 19-year-old kid said, I don't want to spend these coupons. And I said, well, why not? No soda pop, no candy bar, no privilege is worth it for me to spend these. I was puzzled, but I stood there. And he said, these are decorating my wall. I know I'm not supposed to have them up there. But in the middle of the night, when I'm alone, when I'm nervous about my future, when I'm scared, when I pace my room for hours at a time, these are the things that remind me I can do something right. They say things on the back that I've done right. Nobody in my life has ever taken the time to tell me what I do right. And that's important to me. More than a candy bar, more than a soda pop, more than a privilege. So here I was, not new to the profession, someone who's been trusted and privileged to provide behavior management training to generations of staff. And in that moment, for once, I was speechless. Carlos taught me about how starved our kids are for any positive attention from adults. He taught me about the power of being genuine, particularly when I looked at that wall. And it was like a sock in the gut, because I realized I'd written a good number of the coupons that were on that wall. Moments in my day that I had long forgotten, behaviors that I had noticed and just took a second to document, meant that much to him. That was powerful. It taught me about being genuine, about paying attention to the small things, because it's those little things that if we continuously pay attention to them that build toward a larger goal. He also taught me that what I thought was rewarding about the coupon, spending it in the commissary for something tangible, really was of very little value to him. Now, my education and most of my work experience didn't prepare me to look for the positives in the situation. I'm a criminal justice major. I work in the criminal justice field. That job is for the teachers, it's for the psychologists, it's for all those people to be warm and fuzzy. But Carlos made me realize the power of optimism, the power of noticing those little things, and what that meant as far as my connection with him. The journey was intentional for me. because of Carlos. And then the most amazing thing happened. I started looking for the small things in my day-to-day. I started looking for the small things that other kids did. I started watching the staff as they recognized the small things that kids did. And I realized they had easier shifts. They had less acting out. Their day went better. They were safer. The things I learned from Carlos that day are lessons I've never forgotten. This hard kid, the kid you'd cross the street if you saw him walking down the street, that young man touched my heart in a way I will never forget. Carlos and many other kids over the years have reminded me of one of my favorite quotes. What I am today is a reflection of what I've learned, not of my potential. Over the last 17 and a half years, these words have inspired me. It's inspired me to think about kids like Carlos, about the impact that we have on kids within the walls of our buildings, and that we may be that first adult that ever treats a kid respectfully, much less values them enough to encourage their behavior choices. Let's face it, nobody's in our facility because they've done something right. Nobody. They get judged constantly. Even us. Take a hard look at yourself. Think about it. How many times have you said to a kid, "You're back again? What did you come back for this time?" The list goes on and on as far as what they're judged for. One of our challenges in managing behavior is to focus on behavior, not on our values of worth of a person. Focus on the do. What do they do? Not the are, that label.